Welcome, everybody.
Hi.
Oh, let me fix my sound.
Hello.
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 Does the sound good? Can you hear?
Yes.
Excellent. Now, you test. I'm trying to audio settings. And remember, if anyone wants to play or share local music, that you need to put the original sound for musicians on in the audio settings. There. All right, excellent. Yeah, so you can see I'm in the Vermont ashram today. Don't normally broadcast from here. And we have some guests here in the house. Just make sure I'm not missing anybody. Welcome. So as we get going, does anyone have some art, music that they or other creative content that they'd like to share? We do have some here.
Yeah, we are waiting.
Awesome. Great. All right. Well, anybody want to share their own? And we'll turn around here. We recently, we did a cat habitat build.
This was a collaboration with me and Derica. It's called The King of the Cat, says the earwig. So we made this, and then an earwig was hiding behind the curtain there. And so that's how we came up with the name. And it's a bit inspirational because you can pull this thing here and it says, "Believe in you." So that's ours. I guess I'm doing them all. Okay, then here we have another collaboration. This is the Captain Catbeard's Adventure. The cat is on the top there, like that. This one's name is Olive. And there's a poem that goes with it. Olive are a treat, fish are sweet. Cats have feet, swimming is neat. So there's that one. And then why don't you do this one?
Because I
know, but you can talk to it.
yeah, this one is called Un Gato del Cielo. The cat from the sky. And it is a two-part, three-dimensional, multidisciplinary piece. And what we didn't mention is that we were actually taking votes on best art piece. And so you guys are also welcome to vote on which one of these is
Great idea.
Your favorite.
We have a little sheet here and we're getting votes in the community. Last night we had these out on the porch and we made a sign so that people could come and come up to the porch and vote, and just a nice way to connect with people in the community and do something fun.
So you can put it in the chat box. I put Anara's coming.
Yeah, and then we'll look at the chat and then we'll update the sheet.
Yep, one for Captain Catbeard, 2 for Olive, 3 for Un Gato del Cielo, and 4 for King of the Cat, if you care. Yeah.
Super.
Awesome. Yeah, so that was our a little art project there. Welcome, Anara, as well. Yeah, we got a vote for 3.
Which
Thanks
is
for
the
having
one
me.
that had the saying when you turned it about being the South or something like that? Which one had that saying underneath it when you moved it?
King of the Cat, number 4.
And what did it say?
Believe in you.
Believe in you.
Yeah, that's the one I like. I like the saying.
Yeah. This was an inspiration that Derica brought to us. So.
I see a
Absolutely.
jambe. That makes me happy.
Yep. Yeah, we play lots of drums. Playing lots of drums here.
I grew up playing jambes and talking drums.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if we were gonna, end up starting off with the little drum circle in here. Which, this ashram has. We've got like a full set of drums before we were doing virtual gatherings, which makes music harder to do in a group. That was customarily how we'd start a gathering is, just start kind of drumming, making some noise. It's a guitar behind here as well. But moving to the virtual format, it hasn't evolved. As one thing is like you can't jam with people across Zoom in the same way. It just, you're just not in sync. Well, yeah, like let's maybe do a check-in and see how everyone is and what they've been up to. Maybe starting with Ivan, and a great thank you to all the work that you put into the recently published Truths of Terasem in Russian.
Yeah, you're welcome. Finally, it happened. Yes, so basically, I'm pretty much okay. I know what to say. Like, Terasem is like bigger and bigger, and the bright future is closer and closer. So, the singularity is near. That's great.
Nearing certainly.
Yeah. As
Wonderful.
near as never before.
Love it. Ruben.
Hello, good morning. Well, not very young. I also want to thank for that great shop with Derek in the rational lesson of Terasem. For me, it was very a great emotion to listen the truth in another new language. That was really so good. So thank you very much for your work.
Wonderful. Yes. And for everyone, Ruben, who translated the truth into Spanish for us. Wonderful. Yes, Mike, how are you in Scottsdale?
Pretty good. Working on cool downs right now and usual things at Alcor.
Wonderful. Looking forward to getting out there in September. I'm still trying to work out. Yeah, still trying to work out the plan, but yeah, would love to get out there. I think the 14th.
I think we can do it on the 14th.
Yeah. Wonderful. All right. Yeah, Derek, you've had some interesting adventures this last month.
That's for sure. Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. Zarina went on a trip to Russia to visit her family for like 3 weeks. So I was kind of like chilling by myself. And then on her way back, we met up in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. And we had a great time. Awesome hotel and spent a lot of time just shopping. The city's beautiful. So yeah, it's great to have her back, and a nice little trip. And then also I had a great time working with Ivan on the audio version of the Russian Truths of Terasem, or the Truths of Terasem in Russian, I guess. And I just love the voice in the audio. It's so beautiful. And I love the images in the meditation versions. So yeah, that's all from me.
Wonderful. Yeah. Again, so much great work to support the presence of Terasem and its growth and awareness to other people. Thank you for all of that. And Karen, again, really appreciate your efforts to kind of establish a scholarship to the teens and 20s event for Terasem participants. And how are you?
Well, I'm always happy to see a Terasem event and your event. And, one of the things I've noticed there's so many beautiful things about everything your mother has done. But one of the things I really like is that the focus on Bhimans or beings and individuals, because how many people here are beautifully involved in Russia as individuals, despite what politics are. So that's one of the very beautiful things, that people, the individuals, can have this loving relationship. And yeah, I'm extremely busy right now getting ready for the upcoming Teens and 20s event in California, September 7th through 10.
Yeah, that is a beautiful thought about how individuality and respect for it can take us out of our factionalism and our nationalism, and it can be really easy to group people and to judge them as others. And in fact, they say individuals are smart, but people are dumb. But yeah, so that is great to remember that Iran or North Korea or Russia, or America, is made up of individuals who themselves are largely inherently good, kind to each other. And when we stop to see each other as individuals and begin to start to see each other as groups, that's where we other and we lose our empathy. So thank you for that comment, Karen. Inara, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm in a state of flux at the moment. I resigned from Gaze in Space after 3.5 years of grind, and it was an 80-hour-a-week job for me. And I needed to get away from the Hollywood scene and get more towards space again. And I'm still helping them, but it's huge to me, huge transition to go from that being a big part of my life to being on the back burner. So it was a hard choice to make, but it was a good one. And I'm moving to Scotland in a week. My kids and I are packing up and going to Scotland, and that is another big move, and just getting the house sold and everything. And then my new project Universo is taking off, so that's one I would love to have Terasem represented at somehow. Like, I want to provide space there for Terasem, but it's Women in Space Gala at Art Basel. We have fashion designers and music and all the things people love, but space gets to be in the center of it. So that is now my 80-hour-a-week job. So I will be in Miami probably October to January, grinding on that. But it's beautiful. It's such rewarding work, and I feel good about what we're doing. So yeah, that's me, very busy. And then I have a little Russian connection recently. Of course, I work with Asgardia and Igor Ashrabeli, who's in Moscow, but we're working on the Moon Gallery project with my company Alpha Per Se. 2 Russian women sent a moon gallery to the ISS, and they've asked us to help them get the story out and help them sell it and NFT it. So that's going to be, I think, probably concurrent with Universo, and then probably run a little bit longer. So yeah, sleep is not a thing right now.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah, thanks for that. Change is, it can spark anxiety, but it's a beautiful chance to grow. And I think that we need more incorporation of transformational, changing events, in people's lives. I think that our design is very static. Very many people never leave their town, their county, their group. They never get to step outside and see life from other perspectives. And it's difficult. It's difficult to choose change, which often, we don't until it's forced upon us. So I think about this, quite often, how to continually force yourself into change.
For sure.
And yeah. So
well, and for me, it's like, my family would live in a new country or a new place every 2 years. My kids have been homeschooled their whole lives. They lived all over the world. But when COVID hit, we became sedentary. So now I've been here 5 years, and it's weird because normally I get that itch at the 2-year mark, and it's like, let's go, let's get out of here. And now it's like, do we have to go? So it is like, I've gotten in that funk now, but it feels good. Like, now that I'm actually making it happen, I think once we land, you get to be a new person, you get to have new experiences. It's a whole new world. So every journey is like a new National Geographic, edition, basically.
Awesome. Yeah. Beautiful. All right, Julio. Anything to add? I know sometimes you don't want to speak.
Hello, everyone.
Hey. How are you, Julio?
Great.
Lovely.
Taking full-time care of my new little dog.
What's the dog's name again?
Emily.
Emmy. Yes.
She's a sweet little thing.
Yes. I'm looking forward to this new episode with Stellar Magnet on UAPs.
Yeah, I have a couple of things to say. By the way, everyone is welcome. The Turing Church Discord tomorrow, starting at this time.
Yes, lovely. So it's going to be live then, or is that just
live through Discord plus recording published.
Oh, great. Yes. Awesome. Wonderful. Yeah, looking very much forward to that. Another great colloquium in July. Thank you for producing and hosting that. Looking forward to our next one coming up in December. And so maybe we'll switch here locally. Everyone we got here. We got Jen.
Yep, I'm doing well. Thankful to be here and be in Vermont. It's just a beautiful state, and we've been having some really great fun experiences with the kids and with family. And so, yeah, I'm just thankful to be here and looking forward to future adventures today, tomorrow, and the next day.
Awesome. Good. All right, we got a few guests back there. You want to chime in? You don't have to. All right. Good. We got some observers in the back here, but I'm going to take a quick screenshot for. Oh wait, how's that going to work? I have two screens going. Let's see. Well, that's the wrong screen.
Shall I try to take one and send it to you?
Oh yeah, that would be better because I'll have to move the screen and then move it back to properly do it.
Right,
So if you
so
can, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'm going to put it in the Discord.
Did we get it?
Thanks. Let us know what you grabbed.
Send it to the Discord.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So I will now pull up the truths to the main screen here. Oh no, I need to share my screen. That's it. All right. Share screen. Are you seeing the truths now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wonderful. All right. So if my math is correct, we are in the second half of Where's Terasem? 3.6. And as usual, I will read the first section and ask for volunteers to follow with 3.7, 3.8, 3.9, 3.10, and then we will enter into discussion. All right, 3.6. Websites with Terasem and .com, net or org are early places to meet Terasem in cyberspace. 3.6.1. .com is an early neural pathway in an immortalizable consciousness. Uh-oh, Ruben got that.
Yeah, but
3.6.2.
we have been ended it in July, the section number 3. I guess not, in August we should then finish section number 4, no? Section 1 is for January and February, then 2 for March and April, 3 for May and June, and 4
Oh, you're right. You're
for
absolutely
July and August.
Absolutely right, Ivan. I'm still in July.
Yeah, and I guess we should finish it, right? It's the 8th month of the year, so we should finish the sections, right? It's the second part.
Why am I so off in my head? I don't know. That does seem right, but I must have miscounted.
Just a little question. Do you say diversity or diversity? I have heard it in the two ways. What is the correct?
Diversity. So
Diversity. Okay.
yeah. English is, inconsistent at best. But I think we're hearing diversity most often, yes.
Okay, thank you.
What is the date to look at in here that you're on right now? Because the dates aren't numbered like that. I'm looking at my old one, trying to find.
Oh, wow, yeah, so.
This one.
Yeah.
Whereas they don't have those numbers. They just have dates of the year, like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then the date. Are we in August right now? Is that what?
We are in August, yeah, we are in August.
What part of August? Consensus?
So each truth is split half and half. January, so who would be half the 1 through 5 in January. February would be 1/6 through 110. March and April would be the first and second half of 2.0. May and June 3.0, July and August 4.0. So we would be at 4.6 through 410. Which would start,
I can look it up later.
Yeah, they don't fall cleanly along monthly lines. And so we do split them 30 consecutive truths.
Okay.
But not every month is consistent, and so it doesn't perfectly line up if you're using that one. But that's why I've tried to switch to sharing the screen, so we're kind of all reading from the same script. And again, because the truths have changed, and they can and do change, it ensures we're all working off the same copy of the document. Yeah. All right. So I'll begin. Thank you, Ivan, for correcting me. I missed a couple months in there in my head. 4.6, consensus may appear to slow the when of Terasem, but this is only an illusion. 4.6.1, appear fast or appear slow without unity, only down can anything go. 4.6.2, pathways to consent are paved with open communication. 4.6.3, processes of consent are paved with respectful communication. 4.6.4, empathy is a precursor for honest communication and conscious decision. 4.6.5, accept patience as a fair price for progress. 4.6.6, reciprocity and norms will be as accepted as they are consented to. And if you're so inclined, you're always feel free to jump in and add a comment or a question, or hold it till the end if you feel more comfortable doing that. But a volunteer for 4.7?
I'd love to.
Anara, thank you.
Timelines for civilization progress and steps forward. In one, steps backward. In one?
Yes.
Through this. In one, steps backward. Oh, with n values 1 or larger. 4.7.1, values of n are set by actual conditions and depend inversely upon diversity and unity. 4.7.2, always look at setbacks as repositioning, launching paths for greater progress. I like that. 4.7.3, look also to the big picture, for life has improved dramatically over historic time. What's the n?
The n is the end is the chart of our value of our progress, And so, I mean, it's essentially saying, you know, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. That's, you know, that's the essence of, I think, where that notion is coming from. And that the that
And it's a mathematical term.
right,
It's a
yeah.
mathematical term, and it can be any number. What it's saying is that you consistently move forward because it's n-1 step backwards, and the n value always has to be larger than 1. Therefore, no matter how much you move backwards, you're still moving forward, staying the same or moving forward. It's a
Okay.
mathematical.
So a setback is only a minor setback, but the forward movement is consistent.
Right. And
Well-
and I think even more so to say that, like, what this mathematically saying is that even the setback is grounds for further knowledge and learning. And so it's not really, you know, a full step back, because you learn from that and you take that going forward. So you're always progressing, even when it seems like a setback.
That makes sense. Failures are often the paving stones forward to progress. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I think you were 4.7.1 now. Yeah.
Yeah, 4.7.3 right now, right? Or I'll start at 4.7.2. Yeah. Always look at setbacks as repositioning launching pads for greater progress. 4.7.3. Look also to the big picture, for life has improved dramatically over historic time. Where do I go to?
4.7.4. Sorry, I had to scroll it up. Can you see that?
Yep. 4.7.4. Understand pain, suffering, and devastation as setbacks that must be overcome, not as fate. 4.7.5. Existential technology, the ability to forge self-determination, drives unlimited progress and is programmed into the universe. 4.7.6. Sooner or later, depending on order or chaos, joyful immortality will arrive. Yes.
All right, moving into 4.8. Do we have a volunteer?
I could do it, Gabriel.
Yes, Mike, thank you.
4.8, involve yourself in daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual, and quadrennial Terasem rituals. 4.8.1, weave time daily for 1, exercise, 2, vitology, 3, unite earth, 4, working happily, 5, author self, 6, serenity, 7, utope self, 8, motivation, 9, astro, and 10, sleep. 4.8.2, except between your Sabbath eves, only rest and relax, including reading, exercise, sexercise, and transcendental meditation.
Yeah. We'll put a bookmark in that one.
4.8.3, every month gather on the 10th at 10 for music, art, recitation, teaching, and yoga. 4.8.4, keep quarterly holidays of freedom, nature, obligation, and transcendence with ceremony on last month's 10th day. 4.8.5, love the annual graduation on the 10th gathering by reading all truths and escalating Terasemers upward. 4.8.6, years divisible by 4, hold the quadrennial convocation from the 60th day to March 4th.
Yes, coming up next year. All right, on to 4.9. Any volunteer?
I can do it.
Thank you, Ivan.
4.9. Vitology biology inflection begins when cybernetic processing capability evidences autonomy and empathy. Breakthrough consciousness requires processors performing 10^16 operations per second, coupled with autonomous and empathetic software. Expect vitalogical life will emerge by 2020, adjusted minus or plus for chaos or order. Genus evolution will hybridize Homo sapiens to Vita Sapiens by 2050, plus minus chaos or the time. Identity will be based on being, not body, as we will operate across multiple bodies simultaneously. Nanobot swarms as virtual human real-world agents will dominate by 2100, plus minus chaos or the time. Some biological life forms will be preserved out of aesthetic pleasure using nanotechnology to relieve painful disabilities.
Okay, and on to our last section, 410. Any volunteer? Karen? Yep.
Escalation of joiner levels occur when sequads consent to a joiner's cumulative achievement of these capabilities. 4.10.1. Levels hydrogen, helium, and lithium occur with gathering demonstrations of surface, middle, and deep terasem, respectively. 4.10.2. Expect beryllium, boron, and carbon levels with useful teachings on diversity, unity, and joyful immortality, respectively. 4.10.3. Best nitrogen, oxygen, and fluorine levels when one has co-founded 1, 2, and 4 C cubes, respectively. 4.10.4. Elevate to neon, sodium, and magnesium with co-creating 1, 2, and 4 authored selves, respectively. 4.10.5. Levels, aluminum. That's yeah, they did say it that way. Levels, aluminum, and silicon happen with contributions to 1 and 4 geoethical solutions, respectively. 4.10.6. Sanctify 1 as phosphorus. When a quadrennial convocation consents, they demonstrate the quintessence of Terasem.
Lovely, beautiful. And so that concludes the reading for August. I see a hand raised, Anara. Yep.
What does it mean, sanctify 1 as phosphorus?
So, good question. And so phosphorus is the highest level of Terasem in this ranking. To sanctify them is again, this happens at a convocation. If there is kind of an understanding at the convocation that someone has really demonstrated the quintessence of Terasem. And so this has only happened once, and it was Fred Chamberlain. And so as you see through 4.1 through 4.10.5, there are kind of like 3 levels that go with each step. So theoretically speaking, somebody can demonstrate the quintessence of Terasem without having done every previous step. But certainly if you have gone through 1 through 5, that should kind of ultimately demonstrate the quintessence. But certainly at a convocation, either maybe posthumously or just because of outstanding kind of work and just demonstration that they get it. And not only do they get it, but they are producing it, right? They're teaching others. It's like so I think that is when the convocation may select or honor somebody for having kind of attained and reached that that level. I myself see myself kind of in between. I think I'm in somewhere between 3 and 4, really. I will say a convocation could, say, hey, Swami, I think that you have, demonstrated the quintessence of Terasem, and, and anoint me the phosphorus. But I'll say from, my own level of work, and service and whatnot to Terasem, that I have more C cubes to co-found, and I definitely have more geoethical solutions, to produce. So that's where, and I personally kind of see myself in this progression.
That makes sense. So we aim for phosphorus, but it's always about progressing.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think, phosphorus is the highest elevation in terms of anything relating to like what we would know as a hierarchy. Although I don't think that's right, because none of this, everything you do in here, responds to some maybe responsibility, right? But there's nothing in here gives you power over, or makes you right just because you said it.
To me, it seems like it's not about that. I totally agree with you. It seems like it's more about a personal attainment or personal mastery or skill level that you're getting to in your own life. Not even skill level, but a path that you're walking. So it's not like, well, you're phosphorus, whatever you say is law. It's more like you've done this work, you've produced these things, you've produced this pathway. And so it's a personal leveling up, basically. Is that right?
Yeah. And I think, when you look at all of these things, they are each one of them is about sharing content, creating and sharing content, making things, available, to others. And so I imagine it would be very difficult to attain phosphorus in a self-interested, self-centered, way, because everything you have to do here, is about creating and sharing, with others, and
Community. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So
really, it's kind of like reaching that level is, I feel like Terasem is, in my mind, this future, past, and current civilization. And so if you reach phosphorus, it's like you've attained that walkabout within that civilization. You've made it more possible, or brought it closer to the rest of us. So I don't know, that's just kind of how I'm getting it.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. So, just to bring that back around, it's like, you've been living in Germany now, but now you're going to Scotland, right? And so, that's an opportunity to co-found a C-Cube, a center of collective consciousness, right? That can be, like other chapters, regional, it could be ideological, as long as there's, some network that has been formed, for focus and purpose there. But that's great, likewise, Derek, was living in Russia, and now he's in Vietnam, and that helps expose Terasem to a whole new group and people, and not just bring Terasem there, but it's great, all the ideas that Da Nang in Vietnam are bringing into Terasem through Derek, right? This is that whole notion of us being inspirants, right? Our experiences in the world are being breathed in and inspire, the essence of Terasem. And it's great. And this should be a thing that I think when you look, at how Terasem applies to your life and your world, and you say, hey, I'm really comfortable here, but to get to my next level, I need to establish a whole new C-Cube. And so maybe I need to get out of my comfort zone, or go someplace where I feel that this message, or, is maybe needed. And I think we also find in that there may be something that we maybe didn't know what we needed, and found, as well, that you would never have found if you never left, your jungle or your shore, whatever it is. Ruben, I see your hand.
Yes, I want to ask Gabriel to talk a little about 4.8.1, where we have 10 items, and the question is about item 9, Astro. What we are talking about when we mention Astro? Thank you.
Yeah. So let's see quick if it references this in the glossary. Because I do like to,
Awareness of our belonging in the cosmos.
oh, keep going. So all the way down here, I should just look for it. As Jen just said, we're
Right here.
yeah, Astro, awareness of our belonging in the cosmos. And so that maybe doesn't, give enough context into how it falls into those 10, sections. But I have I've understood this as, that these 10 items have a somewhat of a flow that match, day and time. And so Astro aligns with, I think that point where we look up to the stars, the sky, as the stars begin to present themselves in a darkening sky, and the simple, motion of looking up releases a hormone that inspires wonder, curiosity, and that Astro is that point in time to, meditate on our very large, universe and network, and the role that we play and fall into it. And then, sleep, it's an introduction to our dreams, right? And so it's natural that sleep is what follows that in that order. But I think it's a duty to take some time and ponder upwards on ourselves, right?
Thank
that
you,
help?
Gabriel.
Thank you, Ruben.
And Swami, what do you think of its relationship to 6.8.6? About sleep on Alam al Mithral with 16 bright stars to inspire our time and place.
Which, wait, 6.8.6?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so these are so the connection here too is that these are the first 16 stars that you will likely see, the 16 nearest stars to us. And these stars are what, what we would see as we are entering, a sleep cycle, as we, end our days, we look up. These are the brightest, nearest stars that come up and guide our dreams, our sleep cycle, and 6 points. The 4.8 breaks out 10 points, 6 of those points align with meditations themselves, whereas the other points that aren't meditations are productions. And so Alam al-Mithral is, one of the, and in between the meditations, right? There's, utope self, author self, astro, and then there's one that I'm missing in there as well. They point to actions rather than meditations.
Okay, yeah, I see that. Yeah.
And I am very open to hear other thoughts and interpretations that people come up, that people may have, especially if and when they conflict, or maybe add something different than what I have shared.
Yeah, and just to share more, I guess, about my thoughts behind that was, I find in my own life, like when I'm working, or just in daily conversations, that I get, kind of caught up in just the daily things, right? Kind of the grind sometimes of work. So I think it's nice that in 4.8.1 that there is a time, or at least it's stated that, it's maybe a healthy thing to do, to think about your place and your location in space and our existence in the universe, and to remember that and to remember that like daily. Yeah, it just seems like something that, yeah, I feel like would just be very good for my own life. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. This, we are building, it is building a framework, for wellness, in the reality of what our world is now and is becoming, and not being stuck, to practices that don't align with the ecology of, where we are now or where we might be, whether that's a desert, a jungle, a star, a gas giant, gravity, eddies or doldrums. Yeah. And I think also it's in here, it says weave time. We often say we don't have time, or maybe we have to make time. But here it's saying weave time, which is not something that I think you normally hear in the use of time, right? Anara, I see your hand.
Yeah, so I like that you're using this idea of the weaving of time. I watched someone put in the Terasem chat this documentary about Brian Johnson, who's working on extending his life. And he talked about how bedtime, sleeping, used to be the thing that was leveraged against all the other things. So, or for them rather, like, if you needed to go out partying, sleep was the first thing to be lost. Or if you needed to work longer, sleep was the first thing to be lost. And he learned that sleep should be primary, and that he had to prioritize that, and other things had to be subordinate. And I think when we talk about weaving time for these things, we're saying these are vital and these have to be the priorities. And so you should actually structure and weave the time around these priorities. I love that idea because it means we're being intentional with how we use time. And instead of just letting it happen to us, we are plotting the course forward. That to me is very empowering, especially as somebody who has had kind of an up and down, back and forth relationship with time. I've been known to work for 3 days straight without sleeping. I was hospitalized for it at one point, a couple points actually. And I had to learn to claw back and find my health and my intentionality about my time usage. So weaving, I think, is beautiful. I think of all these ancient cultural ideas of weaving the tapestry of life and the cords of life. And, you know, so it's all about that intentionality and that relationship with time.
Lovely. Yeah, Ruben, I see your hand as well.
Yes, it's to answer a question that Inara had posted in the chat about. The question is there a physical compendium of all Terasem teachings and ideals? I think Gabriel will say if I am correct. I think that the answer is no, that there is not a compendium of that type. But I can recommend Ainara a book. Here is it, Principles of Geoethics. I think that you will find here the ideas of Terasem well explained, and I think you know the author. It sounds to us. And
so this book, what is this? Principles of Geoethics. Yeah, I would love recommendation. I love hard copy things. I love to be able to make notes in the margins and highlight passages. And I love the smell of paper. I just love the physicality of having things in hard copy. So if, as much as I can get a hard copy, or if I have to produce it myself, you know, that too, but I want it.
Okay.
An annotated edition of the Truths would be amazing too.
Yeah, so that does not currently really exist. Hopefully that is something that we will produce out of the next convocation, that we will have a version of the Truths that has you know, a bit more discussion and commentary, you know, kind of attached to it. We are developing, you know, there's a document where you can, you know, comment and add suggestions and whatnot. That will be kind of the foundation of what hopefully next year we may publish as a compendium to the Truths. And then Karen, I see your hand as well.
One of the, it relates to time, the question of time. One of the groups I direct is an asset preservation group. And I discussed the three aspects of assets. One is capital assets, which everybody understands. The second is emotional, like clearly you're attracted to cats. And so you're emotional, that's an emotional asset you have. But the third one is time. The time of your life is an asset. And we even have terms about the asset of the time of your life, because you say, oh, I spent 10 hours at the beach the other day, or gee, I spent 2 hours reading this book. So you spend the time of your life, and it's a good thing to think about. In fact, one of the things that we read today had to do with thinking about the self and defining the self. How do you think? When you think, are you thinking positive thoughts? Do you spend a whole lot of time angry? I have to watch that sometimes when I get angry. Whose time are you spending when you're thinking those thoughts? It is your most valuable asset. When you don't have the time of your life, everything else becomes irrelevant.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful point. And as we come to the top of our own time here, I think that's a good point to enter a final meditation for as we close out this month's gathering. And so again, I think really, you know, thank everybody for, you know, their attendance, their participation, you know, their ideas and sharing. And so let's, you know, kind of find a comfortable spot and begin, kind of roll out your neck a little bit, your shoulders. And then find your breath. Take about 3 seconds to inhale. And breathe out. I am going to continue to breathe. Connect with your body. Take a moment to inventory your assets emotionally, temporally, you am I am you, we are one. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next month. Thank you, Derek. Next month, Derek is going to step in for me. I'm going to be on the Grand Canyon, and Derek will lead the gathering. So thank you again, and we'll see you next month. Bye.